So I'm in Algeria, Africa. I just finished my travel, and somewhere back there the boat is waiting for me. I'm in Mostaganem, a coastal town with beaches and a sandstorm at the moment. As you may see, we have a sandstorm from the Sahara. It's very hot. It's very dusty in the air. But yeah, so a little bit before my travel, I decided to try the MITAS E07 Plus Enduro Trail on my TRANSALP 700, and I'm going to tell you how they performed. Yeah. You have the Enduro Trail Plus, E07 Plus. So that's the condition after 4,000 kilometers. This is the rear, and this is the front. Okay. So I did use them a little bit before coming. I wanted to try them off-roading, on the road, in all kind of conditions. I didn't have the chance to try them with rain or in the mud, because around home it's pretty dry too, so we don't get rain very often. So I used them for 1,000 kilometers before coming to the trip, and then I did 3,000 kilometers here in Algeria. I've done all kind of stuff, highway, roads, very bad condition roads. A little bit of off-road. I didn't do as much off-road as I wanted. Maybe 100 kilometers, and it was mostly rocky trails and sand, a lot of sand. And when I was in the sand, it was very, very soft, because it was usually at midday, and at midday is the worst moment to go on the sand, because the hotter it is, the softer it is. It's a lot more difficult. The best moment is early in the morning, and maybe at the end of the day. But early in the morning, when the sand is the coldest, it's when the bike perform better and the trails perform better. But I'm very happy with them. To be honest, I expected them to be a little bit worse on the sand. Obviously, they're not as good as Gnobis, but they still perform very well. I'm very happy. And the other thing that shocked me is that the roads in Algeria are very, very slippery, extremely slippery. The tarmac is very smooth, and there's a coat of dust on it because of the frequent sandstorms, and also another coat on top of it of diesel and all kind of oil from the trucks. So they're very slippery, but they perform very, very, very well. In fact, one day I had the chance to ride with a friend which had a BMW GS, a big GS, and he had high-end tires on the bike. I'm not going to tell the brand, but they were high performance, very expensive tires. And I can tell you that he was scared in the bends. His bike tends to slip a lot when reducing gears before entering the curves. So, but maybe it was because of the weight of his bike and also the retention of the engine, which is greater than mine. So I'm very happy with them. And also I've ridden on highway at 140 kilometers per hour. Sometimes even more, because here the speed is supposedly limited to 120, but nobody respects it, and apparently the police doesn't care much at all, even if there's signals of radars everywhere. But it's like the traffic lights, just a recommendation. Nobody really cares about them. So yeah, they perform very well. As you can see, they're like new. They still have all the meat. Yeah. So I think I can still use them for a lot. And also they didn't get damaged in the rocky trails, because the knobbies, usually even more on the rear, they usually start to crack because of the rocks, but not these ones. Also, there's a big default on these tires, and well, it depends. For me, it's a problem because I put the tires myself, and that they're very hard. They're probably the hardest tires I've ever had on my bikes, and so it was very difficult to put them on the rim. And the front one was even more difficult because I put a Michelin ultra heavy duty 4mm tube, so that made things a lot worse. So I'm very glad I didn't have any puncture at all, and I've seen a lot of cars with flats, but not me. I was lucky, even if I did some off-road, and even if there is a lot of garbage in the trail. There's nails, there's broken glass. Outside of the villages and the towns, it's very easy that you found a lot of garbage in the trails and a lot of things in the trail that can cause a puncture. But I was lucky, and I'm lucky with the punctures. Never had one in my life, and I've done dozens and dozens and dozens of thousands of kilometers, most of them off-road, with heavy bikes like this one. Never had a puncture, but also one of the reasons is because I keep high pressure. I rarely go under 1.5 bars, but I'm usually more on the 1.7. So that helps us a lot to avoid punctures and to avoid pinching the tube or damaging the rim. So very happy with the tire. Cheers!